How y'all doing today? We're going to be talking about pickup trucks. Specifically, we're going to be talking about trucks versus cars because right now, here in the States, the trucks are very popular. Specifically, a lot of bigger, lifted trucks and everything else like that. But it's not even that. What we're going to be talking about is the difference between a car and a truck and how it affects people financially. So, trucks, 80%, I think it's about 80%, 90% of people are actually not using trucks for what they're supposed to be used for. They're actually just driving them around and using it for regular everyday basis, right? Which is quite telling. So most people just buy it just because they like the look of it. They'll think it's cool, or maybe there's a perception of some kind of safety, which is kind of false, and it's proven to be false because you got a lot of blind spots with trucks, a lot of negatives with it, and people perceive that maybe quite honestly, incorrect. But we got to look at the financial looks of it, financial reasons of why it makes more sense to buy a vehicle, a regular car, than it does to buy a truck. I'm going to talk specifically, in this case, my difference. I drive a lot more miles, but we're going to talk about average miles. But what we have here right now, I got two vehicles, right? Let's talk about this. 2007 Prius, 2015 F350. Just for an example of, most people obviously gonna not go ballistic on the F350, generally F150 or 1500 Dodge or something like that, or Chevy. Regardless, it's all about pretty much the same numbers. Regardless, pretty much the same numbers. So what we have here is 45 miles a gallon, right? Basically, is what you get out of Prius. Now, on average, people are driving around about 13,500 miles a year. So that's 300 gallons for a Prius. That's about $1,182 per year to fill up a Prius. Versus the 15 Ford F350, let's say that's median, 18 miles a gallon. And I chose that median because that's just with every truck, not just this particular truck, but every truck. 750 gallons if you're driving this many miles on average. That's $2,955. The difference of $1,773 a year. Just the difference between driving this vehicle, or really any truck, and this Prius. Again, we can talk about the newer Prius, probably going to get better mileage, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. But we're talking about this particular example, right? Okay. Additionally, let's think about this, guys, as well. Additionally, the cost to repair things on this versus that. This is a big vehicle. Even an F-150, a 1500 series Chevy or whatever, is going to be still, everything's going to be bigger on it. Everything's going to be more expensive on it. There are more involving parts. There are more expensive things. And chances are it's probably going to break down more. But let's talk about this example here, right? Tires are bigger. Additionally, tires are much bigger. They're much more expensive. The insurance is going to be more expensive. So I haven't even accounted for that, which is going to be quite numbers as well. But just by looking at the bare numbers, we got $1,773 a difference just in gas. Another big thing that you gotta consider, most people finance their vehicles. I have a situation where I paid them both off, of course, we just bought them cash. But most people, what they do is they finance vehicles, right? So let's say with the financing, let's say on a Prius, I'm just ballparking, let's say $5,000 Prius, right? That's about what that Prius is, realistically, that's about what it is. 6 years, at an average interest rate right now, 6.58%. Your payment is going to be 84 bucks, right? 84 bucks. On the truck, being approximately $20,000 truck, I just say approximately $20,000 truck, maybe more, maybe less. I'm not going to bother with this, but it's 6 years, 6.58%. That's $337 almost dollars for that. That's a difference of $253, almost $253 a month. A month is how much it's going to cost you more to drive this vehicle versus that one. So now you really see how much difference there is, because that's about $3,000 a year. $3,000 a year you're throwing out because you drive in this vehicle versus that vehicle. Especially if you're struggling right now, guys, especially if you're struggling right now, especially if your expenses are tight, if your finances are tight and you have too many expenses, maybe this is one thing you need to look at. Because that's $5,000 altogether with $3,000 plus this. That's almost $5,000 a year in difference. Almost $5,000 a year. Yeah, I know you're probably gonna look cool. Yeah, I know you're probably gonna like the fact that you got bigger truck, that you cool, maybe you got them lifted tires, which again is gonna cost you a lot more than they would on the other vehicle. But if you can't afford it, guys, if you can't afford it, and that's a lot of people, if because a lot of Americans are having freaking month to month, basically they're struggling. Maybe this is something we need to look at. Even if you guys hate a Prius, I know there's a lot of guys, a lot of people who just like, oh my God, Prius is the ugliest, stupidest thing ever. I would never touch that with a freaking stick. I don't care, Malibu, whatever, some other vehicle. It's still going to be quite a difference. It's still going to be quite a difference. The key thing is here, yeah, the gas savings is quite a lot, regardless. And then even if you get a vehicle that's only like 25, 30 miles a gallon, it's still got to be quite a bit of difference. But where your differences come in quite a lot is driving a vehicle that's going to be cheaper versus this one. You're going to be saving a lot of money. And not even that, guys, but the fact is, when you buy a brand new, a lot of people I see that honestly, financially, just can't afford it. The younger guys, especially, they buy themselves a brand new truck. They are crazy expensive, and your payments are going to be outrageous. I know personally, a lot of contractors who think that they're going to buy themselves a truck and they think that, oh, this truck is going to make me a lot of money. I'm going to make myself crazy money on this truck just because it looks cool and it's just because I'm going to get extra contractor, extra work. But, that's going to get you so far. That's just going to get you so far. Your work, your actual work and your history is what's going to make you more money. Trust me, it's not the truck that you're driving. It's the work that you do. It's the quality of work that you do. That's the note to the contractors. But to the people who drive in the trucks without any need to having a truck, guys, people, my God, why do we do this? Why do we do this? You have so much expense different. And you buy a brand new truck that you're not using as a truck, and people are saying like, well, maybe once a year I'm going to need a truck. Come on, get real. Go to Menards. Get a freaking rent a truck for $20. Rent a truck for $20. Let's say you spend $100. You need a truck for one time in a year. Spend, I don't know, $100, right? And you're gonna spend on that truck, and you're gonna need it for 1 year. In a whole year, you spend $100 versus having to waste $5,000 on that thing. Or, like I said, buying a brand new truck. That the numbers are going to be much bigger on that. Don't do it. Don't do it. It doesn't make sense. And one thing as well I want to touch up on, especially right now in this car market, don't buy a car. If you don't need to right now, if you don't have to, don't buy a car right now. Because honestly, the inventories are crazy. I now look up the statistics, but I think like 15% more right now. We have a supply of vehicles versus having a demand. About 15% more. That's a big telltale sign of the fact that the prices are going to go down. There's not going to be any crazy market adjustments. Chances are the dealer is going to be negotiating a lot more. There's a lot more inventory on dealers' auctions right now. A lot more inventory on dealers' auctions. A lot more repos are happening right now. That's another thing I want to touch on too. You buy a brand new car, guys. Especially a lot of people bought a brand new car and they overpaid for those market adjustments. 50% more sometimes. And now your vehicle is upside down. People who did that, the vehicle is upside down. You owe a lot more than the vehicle's worth. And a lot of people are losing the cars right now. They're going through repos because you have a car that's worth $30,000 and you're paying $50,000 or $60,000 in that car. At that point, a lot of people just say, screw it. And that's why there's so many repos. People bought, especially like a common car, Challengers and Chargers. They're very frequent at dealers' auctions. And the reason is because there was some markups and everything. Or that's not even the markups. The money were crazy. Money were crazy back like a year ago, 2 years ago. Everything was cheap, I guess, and people were paying markups, crazy markups on everything. And now everything is just going overstocked everywhere. Overstocked. Don't buy a car right now. I can talk about it a lot more, but don't buy a car right now. And this is just one example. And that's why I would rather you guys consider saving money and making sure you're financially stable. Like in this case, could I go out and buy a brand new truck right now? Yes, I can. Could I buy a brand new Prius right now? Yes, I can. Could I go buy, I don't know, a fancy sports car right now and finance it? Yes, I can. I can do that. But why? I understand the market is going down. I understand what's happening. I would rather wait a little bit and get some cash and go buy a car for cash and enjoy it. And I'm going to be enjoying a lot more because I don't have a payment for it. I won't have a payment for it. I'll just pay that right off. I'll have a car. I know it's paid for, and I'll be a lot happier for it. Trust me, financial stability, that's what's important. Pay off that car and don't have to stress on it. So, guys, especially like I said, unless you absolutely have to, and we did brought up an example on the other video where it absolutely completely makes sense. Completely makes sense, even right now, even in this market, to buy a car. It makes sense. But unless you absolutely have to, right now is not a good time to buy a car. Brand new car especially. And paying market adjustments for it, guys, it's crazy. Like, comment, subscribe.